Welcome back to another episode of Tech Academy. Today we're going to look at setting up your product catalog within techOMS. My name is Adam Lavergne, product manager of techOMS here at Tech Dynamics. We're going to jump around a little bit today as we walk through some different aspects of the product catalog. I've got some examples set up that we'll take you through. Let's start with looking at our product catalog. So first and foremost, our product catalog is what we call a hierarchical view. What does that mean? It means that we support parent-child. So t-shirt, here's our t-shirt. That's what would be on the website that the customer would see. For example, my quarter zip brown sweatshirt, the quarter zip sweatshirt is the parent product, and then the child products under the hierarchical product structure would be the different sizes and color combinations. I'm wearing a beige quarter zip sweatshirt. You'll have it in small, medium, large, XL, 2XL. Maybe it's also offered in black, red, etc. Again, a lot of child SKUs for effectively the same style of product. The variant t-shirt, beige, large, is the purchasable SKU, typically broken out by size and color. On the example of a t-shirt, it makes sense. We have size, we have color. If we look at a different example, what if a SKU equals a SKU? I just created a new one. A lightsaber. Again, sellable SKU is a lightsaber. We've got 3 separate product variant SKUs by color. Let me just find a basic SKU here, a bathroom lavatory. The product is the same as the variant. This where the product SKU equals the child SKU. To be able to have that product hierarchical structure, you have to have that 2 components, the concept of the product and the concept of the child SKU or sort of subservient SKU. So again, when you're setting up a product in techOMS, you always set up the product first. We can come back and do that. We'll set up a new product. We'll call it MP1. It's cryptic. Here's your new product, MP1. This SKU is not yet complete in terms of a product setup. The next thing that we have to do is we have to add the variant. This is where we look at if it's SKU equals SKU, we add new product. So again, you can use the exact same SKU number and then assign a cost if you want. Cost is not mandatory in techOMS. This is also, if you're going to assign this as a non-inventoried item, you would do that here. Now this is new product, SKU equals SKU. It's a basic setup. If this was being set up as a child SKU with sizes and colors, you would start adding your additional variants. Your first one would be your size medium. That would be a medium size. In this case here, we just want it to be SKU equals SKU. Within techOMS, every product can support the concept of an alternate item. If we come back to our lightsaber example, and if we look at the details, this is a red lightsaber. You can see here we have basic product detail information. Again, optional. Doesn't always have to be populated. It's up to the individual users. Should they want to populate it, how much they want to populate, what have you. If you import the product catalog from the sales channel, many of these fields will automatically populate from the sales channel. Similarly, if you push this to the fulfillment channel, a lot of this is also going to turn around and map accordingly. It doesn't work 100% across all the different warehouse management systems, but by and large, the majority of this passes. When we look at the alternative SKUs, you can see here, if the red is not available, techOMS will fail over to blue, green, purple in a priority sequence. Why would we do that? If we come in and look at Shopify, and we look at a SKU within Shopify itself, you have an option here. Let's get down to the variant level. You have this option, continue selling when out of stock. What that means is even if your stock gets down to 0, which in this case you can see our Shopify store has 0 stock, when your stock gets down to 0, you will still continue to take sales orders for this product. Meaning you have customers expecting that this product will be fulfilled. To simplify that within techOMS, we came up with the concept of alternative SKUs. If the red's not available, techOMS will substitute the blue. until the blue runs out of stock, substitute the green until the green runs out of stock, followed by the purple, etc. So again, it's to simplify the flow of orders and simplify the fulfillment of orders in the event that you have continue selling when out of stock checked. I don't love the practice. I understand the practice. We also have what we call product variant reference codes and values. This is where you can actually add a code and a value. Ship and manufacturer packaging. Why is that important? Let's save that. You can use sales order. You're able to use the product variant code and or the product variant value to create rules within techOMS. There we go. We just created packaging and manufacturer's package. What this does, rather than add a sticker, we're just going to add a reference to the order. And we'll call this packaging guidance. And let's use entity property. What we can do now is we can create a rule that passes that information as a reference within that order. And then from there, again, at the fulfillment channel levels we've shown in previous instances, you can now turn around and pass that packaging to notes field or the header pass-through field. It gives you that flexibility to use those product variant codes, reference codes, and values to create order rules on and use for order rule perspective. Then we come back to the product catalog. We talked about SKU hierarchy. We talked about parent SKU, child SKU, so size and color. Now what we can do is we can look at bundle SKU. I'm going to use this summer phone bundle. And what we're going to do is look at how this is structured. Really, in techOMS, what you're doing is you're defining the individual component SKUs. These component SKUs already exist within techOMS. When you select that this product is a bundle, now you're defining what the components that make up this bundle are. So if we come back to Shopify, let's pull up our products. We have the summer phone bundle. Our demo Shopify is not fully polished, but you can see here the variant SKU summer phone bundle. We've got a details, it's $100 item, it's active. There is no inventory on hand in Shopify, but here's the locations it's in. What we receive from Shopify is this SKU. techOMS receives that on the sales order and it breaks it out into the component SKUs. Here, let me show you that. Original SKU, that's what we received from Shopify in the order, and then individual component SKU lines. We break that out within techOMS. We pass those individual component lines to the warehouse for fulfillment. Upon receiving this information back from the warehouse, techOMS reassembles that bundle SKU and passes that bundle SKU back to Shopify. Where things get interesting, and this is more of a technical support perspective or customer support perspective, you can see we have two different summer phone bundle SKUs, base bundle SKU and a warranty SKU. If you look at the sum of the components, they're the same. Why would we create two bundles for effectively the same product? Good question. It comes back to customer support and customer service. From a retailer perspective, you're wanting to support your customers. This is a sellable SKU that's on the front end of your website. It sells for $100 kit, $200 kit. This is a warranty replacement. It's a SKU that is not shown on your active catalog in your online store. It's a SKU that's used as a $0 replacement should there be any warranty issues. The idea here is, from a functional perspective, you can support both SKUs, the sellable SKU, and then should the customer receive the product, damaged products, etc., and they need a warranty replacement, you have a warranty replacement SKU. Even though the components are identical, within techOMS, you can set those up as two separate SKUs from a stock keeping perspective or from a tracking perspective. You track your orders in Shopify, your analytics hangs off your Shopify, you can see how many warranty SKUs are fulfilled or are resent. Gives you an idea of what that either damage rate is or defective rate is on that SKU. So a good piece of follow-up. When we talk about inventory, techOMS handles inventory at the component SKU level. At the component SKU level, you can see that we have, disregard the fact this is old, we're doing some testing on migrating SKUs. You can see that the wireless phone itself is available in 3 fictitious locations, each location having separate inventory. Now, if we come to, again, you can see we have the second component, so 96 in one location, 1541 in another, 0 in the third. And the final component, the phone charger, same thing. When you look at the bundle inventory, you'll notice that the bundles, 0 available, 541 available, 96 available. Let's look at this 541 in our east location. Why is it limited to 541? 1541 of the phone charger, 1541 of the phone case. Oh, the wireless phone only has 541 available. So techOMS in real time calculates bundle inventory on the fly, looking at the components, SKUs, and the quantity to purchase, the quantity available, is the lowest quantity of the component SKUs. For example, this one's at 541, but what happens if we just received a new order? We just received 500 into stock. Now we have 1,041. If I come back here and refresh my screen, we now have 1,041 units available. Last episode, we talked about real-time inventory and how techOMS sends inventory to the sales channel in real time. This update, this fictitious receiving of 500 units, just triggered a real-time adjustment. Not only did we just send an adjustment of 500 units to the shopping channel, to the sales channel for East, we also sent an adjustment at the bundle level. So again, the component SKU and the bundle SKU, component SKU is real time, based off of receipt of goods, etc. The bundle SKU is calculated based off of the components, but also subject to real-time inventory updates. Keeping your product in sync, making sure the product is available on a regular basis. Let's talk about bundles for a second. You can create a bundle in your warehouse management system, in your WMS. So what are the benefits of creating a bundle within techOMS versus creating that bundle within the WMS? Well, first and foremost, simplicity. Every single WMS system I've ever experienced can handle SKU equals SKU. It's the most basic form, the most basic level of a SKU. No hierarchy, no bundling required, etc. Let's say you're lucky enough to have a WMS that does a good job handling SKU bundles. Well, typically what you have to do in your WMS is you have to create the bundle. Then you have to move inventory from the component SKU to the bundle SKUs. You build out that kit or you build out that bundle. Not only do you do this systematically as you create the bundle in the typical WMS, you also have to physically move the product because the bundle SKU is going to have a separate slot location than what you're going to have from a separate from the component SKU. Now you've got wireless phones using bundle location 1, phone case bundle location slot location 2, phone charger slot location 3. Now your bundle SKU takes up slot location 4. From a fulfillment perspective, creating that kit SKU in the WMS is a work activity. It's billable hours. Physically moving these products, individual components to that bundle SKU, to that slot location, is a physical task. Also, billable hours. And lastly, now you're using an extra slot location. Instead of 3 slot locations, you're now using 4 slot locations. Typically, slot location has a carrying cost. Again, another billable charge. From the fulfillment perspective, might help raise billable hours, might help raise billables. From the customer, the seller perspective, doesn't necessarily offer them a lot of value, especially when you consider how frequently or how dynamically bundles can be created. If your seller is creating bundles quite regularly, they may have 80 bundles, 100 bundles. That's a lot of work activity required at the warehouse level in order to maintain these, manage these, change these, update these. They swap out this part for another part. Maybe this bundle now includes a lightsaber. Now the seller has to notify the warehouse. The warehouse has to make this change. The warehouse has to physically break apart the previous bundle, add this new components to the new bundle, moving inventory. We haven't even gotten into forecasting and historics. How do you determine what quantity or split of inventory that moves into the component SKU versus moving to the bundle SKU? There's a lot of variables at risk. Again, within techOMS, your seller, your customer can create bundles until they are absolutely blue in the face. There is no impact on the warehouse whatsoever. The bundle is created in techOMS. When the sales order is received within techOMS, techOMS converts it to the component SKU and sends that component SKU to the warehouse for fulfillment. Drastically simplifies the process and gives your seller that control. Also, from a seller perspective, reduces the cost of management and maintenance of bundles. So to me, that's a huge win-win. The other piece about product bundles, which is interesting, let me come back to my phone bundle. Alternate products also apply. If at the component SKU level, if this SKU has an alternate product, should PC002 not be available, and you define one or more SKUs to fill over to, that same alternate item at the component level is also incorporated into the bundle. Same advantage of having alternate SKUs at the component level, that advantage and that benefit is also passed over and available at the bundle level. techOMS automatically will substitute products based on availability as defined within techOMS. We walked through how we create a bundle. We've walked through the alternate SKUs within a bundle. We talked about the benefits of using bundles. We've looked at product hierarchy within techOMS, that parent-child SKU configuration. We looked at the alternate SKUs. The idea here is rather than stock out or rather than have to cancel a customer order because they check a box that continues selling the SKU even if not available. I come back here. Because they've checked off this box, rather than cancel orders, you can use that product alternative within techOMS to automatically substitute. We talked about the reference code, reference value, which again can be used for different points of creating different rules, referencing rules within techOMS, and part of your suite of rule engine. We looked at inventory, how techOMS calculates inventory. So this flows from the WMS, your component inventory, and then calculates the bundle inventory in real time on the fly based off of the availability of bundles. One thing I forgot to mention, within Shopify, or whichever sales channel you choose, your phone bundle and your component SKU can sell side by side. Meaning, and this was always a risk in my previous retail career, I'm going to quote Mr. Burnside, the challenge with pushing bundles, yes, it raises average order value. Yes, it raises profitability on an order basket. But the downside risk of forcing customers into a multi-pack or bundle SKU is if that customer only has $50 available, you may price your product out of their available spend. While those who purchase the bundle, you reap the benefit of that added profitability. What you may do from a pricing perspective and elasticity in pricing, you may lose some of that market, some of that customer base, because you've now priced the product to the point that they're no longer willing to pay that, even though the bundle has value. techOMS supports selling the component SKU alongside that bundle SKU. So in your sales channel, you can have the two listed side by side. So if an order comes in for the component SKU, not a problem. Inventory is decremented, bundle values recalculated, inventory adjustments set to connected sales channels to keep both the bundle values and availability as well as the individual component availability in sync. Similarly, if an order is received for the bundle SKU, it's obviously going to decrement the child SKUs. That real-time adjustment is going to update the sales channel, keeping that bundle inventory in sync as well as the independent component SKUs in sync. Let's look at a couple other things. Yes, I showed you how to create a product manually. What we've done is we've created some, under the maintenance tab, we've created some import-export functions. You have a list, in my almost 24 years in retail, I always had a spreadsheet with all of my SKU information. From an initial product perspective, it's very simple to import your product. I can come in here, import my product, take a few moments. I just imported. Similarly, variant references. Rather than entering these one by one, again, as part of your master product spreadsheet, create it, import it. It's the same thing. Here's my references. Similarly, bundles and alternate items are also importable. So again, I come back to always having my experience, always having kept a product master sheet in Excel. Our import export uses CSV templates, just modify the document, your Excel documents to the supporting, and now what you're able to do is you're able to push or pull the individual products, the variant references, the product bundles, and the alternate items with one fell swoop. Alternatively, under recurring jobs, you can create that job to either send the products to your fulfillment channel, aka your warehouse, on a nightly basis, or more commonly, receive the products from your WMS on a nightly basis. The key here is reducing duplication and data entry, saving labor. For a new item to be received, it has to be set up in your WMS, right? Minimum requirement. For it to be fulfilled, you have to receive an order against that. Being that you have to set that SKU up in the WMS, we already looked at the product within techOMS in our detail page. So when that new SKU is created today in the WMS, it imports into techOMS tonight with as many fields mapped as possible, meaning that without any human intervention, you're now ready to take orders from the sales channel. Also, by automatically creating that order in tech or that SKU in techOMS, now when that inventory is received in the WMS, you've created that inventory sync, and that inventory sync will push that SKU to the sales channel. Trying to automate the flow as quickly and easily as possible. Like I said, we see an example here of a bundle SKU where we receive the bundle SKU from the sales channel. techOMS breaks it out into the individual component SKUs. If you look at the shipment attached, the shipment that gets sent to the warehouse is the component SKU only. Upon fulfilling this order, techOMS reassembles this, sends this back to the shopping cart. Find another one. Here's an example of single SKU. But here's where you can see product variance is missing. This means that the SKU was not set up properly. The set up the SKU in techOMS portion was omitted at the time that this order was received. Before this item can be fulfilled or this shipment can be created and this order fulfilled, this product variant needs to be created in techOMS and then applied to this shipment. Key thing to look for and key workflow is to make sure that that product variant is set up in techOMS before you start receiving orders against it. Same thing here. We're doing some testing to see how the system behaved with missing variants. And here you can see what the proper order would look like, where that original SKU, variants are all present. Shipment is created. Shipment for that SKU is sent to the warehouse for fulfillment. And then upon fulfilling, techOMS will pull back, populate the tracking information, carrier information, and then push this information back to the sales channel. Basic order flow. Any questions from the audience at this point in time? Let's open the floor to some Q&A. Check the chat. Okay, I got a question about the variant side of things. How do you fix the variant? Let's see if I can do this really quickly. First things first, you have to move the order back to draft status. Then you're able to edit this order, and you're able to select the variant. Test SKU.1, you would have to set this item up into the techOMS catalog first. Once it's set up in the techOMS catalog, you would come in here and you would search for the corresponding SKU variant. For the sake of the demo, I'm going to grab a different SKU variant. Now I'm going to save that. What you've now done is you've created that relationship. You save this, and now you're able to approve the sales order, allocate, and fulfill. That's the most simplistic way to deal with this. The other thing you could do is you could actually delete the order out of techOMS and set up the item, re-import the order. To me, that's a lot more onerous of a task. Something like product variants, if we come back to our dashboard, let me expand the date range for my test environment. Something like product variants is probably the most common error we see. You'll see this on the exception dashboard. When you click into it, you can see which SKUs are missing. Then if you click on the SKU, you'll be able to see which order is impacted by this. And then again, as you correct these orders, the count of errors will decrease automatically. So the exception dashboard becomes a great tool for fielding those. Any other questions from the audience? Okay, with that, I'll stop sharing. I'm going to thank everybody for the time today, and we'll tune in next month for next installments of Tech Academy. Thank you very much, folks. Have yourselves a good day.